standing on a platform, overlooking brilliant blue water, about to jump off a 43-meter bridge, feeling completely paralyzed, knowing there's nothing to be afraid of, but my mind keeps saying, run for your life! Fear is real. Sometimes it's even logical, but why should we let it control our lives? Hi, I'm Evie Moore, and I'm completely and utterly terrified right now because public speaking is scary. I'm standing up talking about fear and all the times I've been vulnerable to it, including right now. But I know that I have to be strong and face my fears because it's the only way to live life to its fullest. Our time on Earth is relatively short, so we need to make the most out of every second. Fear holds us back, and we need to conquer our fears by facing them. But it isn't as easy as it sounds. There are two types of fears we might experience. There are psychological fears and primal fears. Both are challenging in their own ways. A psychological fear is more of an anxiety. What if I fail? What if no one likes me? While primal fear is more of a survival instinct, the fear of spider or the fear of heights. Primal fears are often about dangerous scenarios where if something went wrong, we could get seriously injured, but usually we feel them when in fact we are perfectly safe. Wearing a harness or a life jacket, staring at a harmless spider, not a poisonous one. Being afraid of these probably won't hold us back much in life, but there's value in stepping outside of our comfort zone so we don't miss out on the fun. Last year during spring break, my family and I took a trip to New Zealand. When we were there, we went bungee jumping on the bridge where the sport was originally created. Yep, you guessed it, the very bridge my friend Tia jumped off. I knew that I was going to be petrified with fear because I cried all the way up the Statue of Liberty. Still, I knew that if I didn't jump off the bridge, I would regret it, and I might never get the chance again. And if I did it, I'd be so proud of myself. So, I decided to jump. I stood in line with total confidence because I knew I was going to be okay. I even felt fine as they were putting the bungee cord around my leg. I waddled out to the platform and made a huge mistake. I looked down at that perfect blue water, and there it was, the clammy hands, blurred vision, heavy breathing, and self-doubt, otherwise known as fear. I can't do it, I just can't do it, I told myself, and I got off the platform. I immediately regretted giving up. I watched my dad jump, and then I decided to give it another chance. I got back on the platform, and then a miracle happened. I jumped. Still to this day, I can't believe I faced my biggest fear, and I'm so happy I did. The primal fear hasn't completely gone away, but now I feel a lot more comfortable around heights. Psychological fears are more important to overcome because they will come up more often due to the day-to-day life, and they can really hold us back. My psychological fear is not being accepted or being treated as stupid because I have a learning difference. This is something I have to deal with a lot more often than my primal fear of heights, which only gets triggered when I'm standing on the edge of a steep drop. Because I have slight dyslexia, certain things are harder for me and take me more time. Even though I can think perfectly fine, I may have trouble understanding something I'm reading. I didn't know this about myself until I got tested last year. And when I got diagnosed, I told my parents, nobody can find out. I was afraid people would view me differently, as stupid, when I hadn't changed at all. I was the same Evie, I just knew more about the way I learned. Since then, I've had time to accept that I learned differently, and I feel a lot more comfortable with the fact that I have dyslexia. Also, I survived off a 43-meter high bridge, and I feel like I could do anything. So, during my 8th grade retreat, I decided to be my brave self and tell my classmates. They were all so supportive, and they didn't treat me any differently. The heavy burden of my fear was lifted off my shoulder, and I felt lighter and more comfortable around others, no longer ashamed of my secret. Every day I'm a stronger student and a better friend because I faced this fear. Though hard, facing our psychological fears ultimately make our lives much easier. And when we overcome our fears, we feel much more free and in control. Our psychological fears are just really what-if scenarios that we let control us. Unlike with our primal fear, it's not the end of the world if the scenarios really do come true. If someone does judge me or label me stupid because of my learning difference, I can choose to brush it off and not interact with them. No biggie. In the passage Pierce read for us, Timothy tells us that love drives away fear, and he is right. My parents' love and support helped me accept my diagnosis of dyslexia. My pride in myself for taking risks in the bungee jump helped me to see myself as brave and strong. The love I feel for my classmates allowed me to trust them with my secret. Despite my fear, I knew in the back of my mind that my classmates would support me no matter what. And the love, not the fear, was true. So next time you're faced with your primal fear, jump. We only live once, and we never know when a single act of courage will help us become braver, stronger versions of ourselves, more able to face our daily fears. When I was a new kid in 6th grade and I was watching all the 8th graders give their chapel talks, I thought it was the scariest thing in the world, and I couldn't have done this then. But give it 3 years and I've had a lot of practice facing my fears. Now, giving my chapel talk doesn't seem so terrifying. Sure, it's still a little scary, but hey, I'm almost done, and so far nothing awful or dangerous has happened. So, take it from me, conquering fears is rewarding, and it makes you much braver, stronger, and really proud. After facing my fears, I know that I can accomplish anything, and you can too. Thank you.